Alright, welcome back everyone. Now today I'm going to be focusing on a dividend-based portfolio update, but specifically I want to provide everyone an update with the high-level goals of what a dividend portfolio is trying to achieve. Now for those new to the channel, and even those that have been following along, you'll be aware that I focus on growth-based content as well. So this isn't a video of dividend versus growth, but what I'm going to focus on is the fully passive experience that you can achieve when it comes to dividend-based investing. And today my dividend-based portfolio holds a lot more money within the Trading 212 account compared to that of my Invest account, which is primarily my growth portfolio. And so before we jump into why dividend-based investment is so powerful, I just want to explain why I have this separation between the growth portfolio and the dividend. Now the first reason is that I want to have exposure to both dividend-based companies and growth-based companies. Tactically I have the separation, so my ISA account holds my dividend-based portfolio just because I'm going to be hitting the £2,000 limit much sooner, and so I want all that protection that the ISA account brings. With the Invest account we can buy and sell stocks much quicker, and so that suits much better than an ISA account because if I sell out of a position then I deduct from my allowance within the given tax year. And so that's the only real reason, it's to have exposure to both growth and dividend-based companies. But as a personal preference, when it comes to fully passive income, the ISA account is the only true form of passive income. And that's because if I go over to the dividend tab here, we can see that the last few days, we can see money has come in where I haven't had to work. So take for instance, we've got Main Street Capital, £6.23. I didn't have to do anything for that money other than to have the initial seed money to buy into the dividend-based company. And so all these dividend-based companies are effectively providing me with an income stream where I don't have to clock in any hours. For the most part, my work is done at the point of buying into these stocks. Now there could be some instances where I notice a certain company that isn't performing too well, and then I may decide to sell out of the stock and then reposition that existing fund. And equally, any money that comes into the free fund, which is primarily from dividends or from money that I source, then there is a manual process of deciding where that money goes into. But equally we have the pie setup feature, so if we're willing to pay a little bit more money in terms of the costs associated here, we can auto invest and have that automated. And equally there's a bunch of ETFs out there as well, so if we look at the likes of iShares, we can just put money into an ETF and there is no active management on our behalf that we have to deal with. So just to take a look at how long this account has been going on for and how much money I've made in the form of dividends. Now we can't see on the screen, but I've had this account for around the 2-year mark now. But at the bottom here we can see total dividends, £873 received. So all this money has been reinvested to buy the same or other types of dividend-based companies. And so that reinvestment process just makes it easier to grow the portfolio over time. I personally take these numbers, and at the moment it's a manual approach, but I track and plot how the performance has been. And so we can see that broadly speaking, month over month, we have increases in dividends. As I mentioned in previous videos, the spike here was attributed to a certain company that paid a one-time lump sum. And equally for August, those results have not been calculated yet, but we definitely have an uptrend every single month. And if I take an average month of these days, we're looking at around the 70-ish mark. And then excluding the March of 2021, we have July at £90. So for the given months that you can see on the screen here, there really is nothing that I've had to do to maintain that same level. And so these days when I buy into dividend-based companies, I'm just looking at certain companies and potentially buying into new names or buying into existing companies. And so I would suggest that dividend-based investing is one of the easiest ways that anyone can achieve passive income. In fact, it's really not that difficult when we look at these types of companies. Some of these are well known. So take a look at Apple. Everyone's heard of this household name. Even for those in the UK, we've heard of Bank of America. Of course, we don't have it operating in the UK. And then equally Coca-Cola worldwide. And so in terms of these companies, there is a range in terms of the dividend yield, so that can range from 0.1% all the way up to say a 6%. But other than that, it's really not rocket science. And so anyone out there, that is one of the simplest ways of setting up your account. But what the hardest part is how you fund your account. And so what I've invested around 22,000 into this ISA account. The returns have increased as a result of dividends and also the growth of the individual stocks. But the question is, where where does this 22k come from? And for the most part, most people out there are going to be working a 9 to 5 job and then using that money to fund your account. And in the past I would have said invest a certain percentage, say 10 to 30% of your income. But these days I would recommend that, provided you can pay for your mortgage if you have one, or rent if you're paying for rent, and everyday items such as food, electricity, etc., provided you can pay for all of that, then the rest of your money really should go into a dividend-based account. Given how the process of dividend reinvestment works and the safety that is built into the system, and 10 or 20 years from now, this account will be funded with even more money from my salary, but most importantly, the dividends that I receive from all these different companies that you can see on the screen, those will be funding the account. And then in the future, we won't be talking about close to £100. We'll be talking much more significant numbers, and it's still the same result. I don't have to work any more additional hours. The process is exactly the same, but more dividends are received as a result. And equally for those that don't have around £20,000 to invest, what's great is that this process is accessible to anyone. If you have £100, then you have the opportunity to build a form of passive income, and then depending on your circumstances, you can decide to fund more or less. But there is a nice safety net that we create when having a dividend-based portfolio, and with the addition of compounding, we really get to see an increase in the results as time increases. So thanks for watching, everyone. New videos are posted each week. For anyone new to the channel, it really does help if you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow the progress on my dividend portfolio. Equally, I have updates on growth-based companies as well as crypto, and so if that does interest you, then definitely check out other videos that I have. But thanks for watching, everyone, and with that said, I'll catch you in the next one.